Who would have thought that the ice-cold female CEO who dominated my nights, Jiang Shen Yuchu, had a boundary that even I couldn't touch? She never allowed anyone around her to wear a white shirt. I, however, didn't believe in the taboo and wore one in front of her twice. Each time, she became a completely different person, flying into a rage. The first time, she stripped off my clothes and threw me into an abandoned castle full of venomous snakes. The second time, she personally tore my white shirt to shreds and had people throw me into the Tianqi Lake of Changbai Mountain. After being rescued, I had a high fever. When I woke up, I was furious and offered her a divorce. My wife, Shen Yuchu, hugged me with a face full of guilt, apologizing, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry." It reminded me of my deceased younger brother. "Tiang King, promise me, don't ever wear a white shirt again, okay?" I then learned that Shen Yuchu's younger brother was wearing a white shirt when he was humiliated and beaten to death in an alley. Since then, the color white became a complete taboo in her eyes. I never dared to wear white again, fearing it would trigger painful memories for Shen Yuchu. But on our wedding anniversary, I went to meet her, only to be hit by a car driven by a young man, knocking me unconscious. In my blurry vision, I saw Shen Yuchu run over in a panic, but she didn't even look at me. She hugged the startled boy, coaxing and soothing him. The boy was crying, threatening to jump off the rooftop. His white shirt was taken off, swaying precariously in midair. Finally, Shen Yuchu had to kiss him until his legs went weak before she carried him into the hotel. At that moment, I knew we were completely over. Fortunately, the car accident wasn't serious. My head only hit the car door hard, resulting in a slight concussion. I woke up in the hospital. "Give me all the information on that boy in 5 minutes." I handed the photo I had secretly taken on my phone just before fainting to my bodyguard. He adjusted his glasses, nodded, and left. Soon, the information arrived on my phone. The boy was named Zhang Xiaofan, and what he loved to wear most was a white shirt. The bodyguard had also contacted a private investigator, who took hundreds of private photos of him and Shen Yuchu. According to the investigation, Miss Shen and this boy met in college. 6 months ago, Ms. Shen went to the university for a charity event and exchanged contact information with the boy named Zhang Xiaofan. Afterward, CEO Shen bought him a bachelor apartment near the school, which was also their frequent rendezvous spot. The bodyguard looked at me meaningfully, and their fixed date time is every Saturday. I looked at the photos in silence, giving a bitter smile. No wonder Shen Yuchu, who never voluntarily worked overtime, hadn't come home on a Saturday in the past 6 months. Her explanation was that the company had a new project that required short-term business trips, and every Saturday night her messages never received a reply. It turned out she had a home elsewhere. Shen Yuchu returned, her eyes full of exhaustion, but she smiled and handed me a gift box. "Tiang King, the company had an emergency last night, and I was delayed. I didn't make it to the restaurant. You must have waited anxiously, right? This is the gift I brought you. I should have given it to you yesterday." Shen Yuchu opened the box to show me, unaware of my expression. "It's okay, I didn't go to that restaurant either, because on the way, I got into a car accident, and the culprit was her young lover, Zhang Xiaofan. When the accident happened, the young man panicked and called her. Shen Yuchu only focused on comforting him, never bothering to look up at me. If she had just glanced over, she would have known that the person hit was the husband she was supposed to be meeting. Shen Yuchu heard that I hadn't gone to the restaurant either and breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank goodness you didn't go, so you didn't wait in vain. How about this? I have time the day after tomorrow. We'll celebrate our wedding anniversary again." Her words caught in her throat before she could finish. The next second, her face turned ashen. I spread the stack of private photos in front of her. "Shen Yuchu, explain this. What is going on with this man?" Shen Yuchu's expression froze. She stared at the photos for a long time. When she finally reacted, her eyes were flustered. "Lin Tiangqing, you investigated me?" I lightly touched the back of my hand and couldn't help but sneer. "Well, there has to be something for me to investigate. If I hadn't had a car accident yesterday and literally watched him hug another man right under my nose, I would never have believed that Shen Yuchu, who claimed to love me to death, would actually cheat." "Will you explain?" I asked with a half smile. "If you're too lazy to quibble, we can just get divorced." Seeing me produce the divorce agreement, Shen Yuchu's face instantly changed. "Tiang King, don't overthink this. These photos are a misunderstanding, Shen Yuchu explained, with a straight face and a frown. I know you must be very curious why I am close to him. I can tell you the answer. Tianqing Xiaofan is the same age as my younger brother. I just treat him like a younger brother. Shen Yuchu's brother was named Shen Yafan, which even sounds similar. If I hadn't personally seen Shen Yuchu kissing him, I might have actually believed her. Shen Yuchu, are you treating me like an idiot? I threw the picture of them kissing in her face. A brother you can sleep with? As those photos appeared one after another in front of me, I wasn't angry. Nor did I cry or make a fuss. When Shen Yuchu put her arm around that boy and walked into the hotel, what would happen next was already self-evident. I had already guessed the outcome. I just wanted to see how Shen Yuchu would try to explain it. Tianqing! Shen Yuchu's voice was heavy, mixed with a lot of reluctance. I admit Xiaofan does have feelings for me, but I haven't accepted them. And I couldn't bring myself to destroy his feelings. You know how tragically my brother died back then. I just treat him like a younger brother and want to make up for some of it through him. This photo, he kissed me, and I didn't push him away. Tianqing, I promise there won't be a next time. She knelt on one knee in front of me, her expression devout. In the 5 years of our marriage, Shen Yuchu rarely made such mistakes. She always had a strong sense of boundaries and rejected any boy who came close. But now, she had not only fallen, but was making various excuses. I smiled. Fine. Since there's nothing going on between you, take back the apartment he's living in, and I'll pretend nothing happened. I stared into Shen Yuchu's eyes, but she frowned. No, Xiaofan doesn't get along with his roommates and has been ostracized by his classmates. If I kick him out, he'll have nowhere to live. I laughed, and the scene of the car accident flashed before my eyes. He was clearly driving illegally and hit me, yet he acted like a victim, threatening to jump off the rooftop to commit suicide. Sister Yuchu, I hit him by accident. I don't want to go to jail. Please fix this for me, okay? He cried profusely, begging Shen Yuchu. And that man was driving late at night. He has some responsibility too. After all the commotion, Shen Yuchu's heart softened, and she took him to the hotel while I was left unconscious from the collision. If it weren't for a kind passerby calling an ambulance, I don't know how long I would have been passed out on the road. I gave you a chance, and you didn't value it. I pulled out a lawsuit. Then don't blame me for suing Zhang Xiaofan for hit and run. Shen Yuchu suddenly looked up, her face instantly changing. What hit and run? Shen Yuchu practically snatched the document from my hand. When she looked up again, there was a vague darkness in her eyes. The person who was hit that night was you? She didn't worry about my injuries or how I ended up that night. She just closed her eyes and continued to plead. Tianqing, let him go. The young man didn't know any better. He was driving illegally because we had a fight that day. Besides, he is preparing for the civil service exam and can't go to jail, let alone have a criminal record. I gave a cold, half smile with a hint of frost in my eyes. What if I say no? Shen Yuchu, you should know what happens to people who offend me. I must make him pay the price. Shen Yuchu glanced up at me. The next second, she completely shredded the document in her hand. Tianqing, don't forget, I was the one who backed you before. But this time, as long as I'm here, no one would dare take your case. She advised me to think carefully and turned to go back to the study. The moment the door slammed shut, my heart turned completely cold. Sure enough, with Shen Yuchu interfering, not a single lawyer dared to take my case. Even the top lawyers advised me. Mr. Lin, you know your wife's power. It's just a small hit and run. If she really wants to shield someone, no one will benefit from opposing her. Mr. Lin, everyone knows you've been CEO Shen's favorite for years, getting whatever you want. What more could you be dissatisfied with? My grip on the teacup tightened gradually, but a cold smile remained on my face. It turned out everyone thought I was just a kept man, a parasite living off Shen Yuchu all these years. At this time, they were probably going to be disappointed. I made a phone call overseas. Are you busy? I've run into something and need you to come back to China. They say on Wall Street that you never lose a case you take. Do me a favor. A woman's low chuckle came from the other end. Lin Tianqing, you finally remembered I exist. Since you've opened your mouth, no matter how busy I am, I'll take time off and rush back to preside over justice for you. The call ended. My gaze fell on the young man who suddenly appeared not far away. He was holding a bouquet of flowers, and when he looked up, his eyes were arrogant. His white shirt fluttered in the wind, much like I did when I was 18. Back then, I loved white shirts the most. It was because of Shen Yuchu's emotional baggage that I gave all my white shirts away. But why could this young man flaunt one in front of me? He seemed familiar with Chunshan Mansion. As soon as he entered, he smiled and asked the housekeeper, "Is Sister Yuchu home? I've come to bring her flowers." The housekeeper was instantly terrified. He nervously ushered him into a corner. "Mr. Zhang, why did you come at this hour? The master is home." Zhang Xiaofan was completely unfazed. Instead, he proudly raised his head. "So what? Sister Yuchu is already sick of him. And with Sister Yuchu protecting me, what can that out-of-favor man do to me other than fume? Besides, Sister Yuchu said I could treat this place as my own home." His words reached my ears, and I smiled. I had originally planned to turn a blind eye, but I didn't expect Zhang Xiaofan to show up at my doorstep. "You must be Lin Tianqing." The young man's voice questioned me from behind as I sat on the garden swing, sipping my tea. I narrowed my eyes and sized him up. "So you're the unwelcome man? Yuchu has long stopped liking you. What are you still holding onto this position for? Why don't you step aside quickly?" Zhang Xiaofan pulled down his collar, exposing a bright red love bite on his neck. "See that?" He looked arrogant. "The one Shen Yuchu loves is me. She loves me in my white shirt, and loves whispering sweet nothings to me on my body. Even this Chunshan Mansion. She brought me here many times when you weren't home. That very swing you're sitting on, we even unlocked new positions there." Zhang Xiaofan's eyes were full of contempt and smugness as he looked at me. "But what about you, Mr. Lin? I heard you can't even wear a white shirt in front of her, right?" Zhang Xiaofan covered his mouth and chuckled, his eyes full of mockery. I watched him in silence, my gaze slowly shifting to his pure white shirt. "The white shirt looks quite nice." Before Zhang Xiaofan could even get smug, I waved my hand, had his clothes stripped off, and threw him into the lake. The bodyguards behind me moved expressionlessly. They roughly grabbed Zhang Xiaofan and aggressively took action. Zhang Xiaofan clearly hadn't expected me to do this. He was shocked and panicked, struggling desperately. "Lin Tianqing, what are you doing? How dare you touch me? Shen Yuchu won't let you get away with this." I casually rubbed my ear. "Stuff his mouth with something. The white shirt you took off. Stuff it right into Zhang Xiaofan's mouth." He was left exposed, looking utterly terrified and frantic, extremely pathetic. The vast artificial lake was right there. The arrogance in Zhang Xiaofan's eyes faded, turning into panic and pleas for mercy, but only muffled sounds came from his mouth. "Throw him in!" Shen Yuchu rushed over just in time to see this scene. Her face instantly darkened. "Lin Tianqing, what are you doing? Let him go!" I spun the tail ring on my finger. "I'm helping you punish an inconsiderate person." Shen Yuchu's face was gloomy, a vein throbbing on her forehead. I looked up and gave a radiant smile. "Yuchu, don't you hate it when men wear white shirts in front of you? This boy is clueless. I'm helping you teach him a lesson. Shouldn't you be happy? Why do you look so upset?" Shen Yuchu gritted her teeth and spat out a few words. "Lin Tianqing, you don't have to do this. If you hate me, if you have any complaints, take them out on me. Let Xiaofan go." Zhang Xiaofan struggled and spat out the gag, sobbing as he begged the man for help. "Sister Yuchu, save me! Lin Tianqing is a lunatic. He wants to kill me!" Shen Yuchu clenched her fist, her expression full of forced restraint. "Lin Tianqing, I don't want to make this ugly. Don't make me say it a second time." My expression also turned cold. I forcefully smashed the teacup on her forehead. Shen Yuchu didn't even try to dodge, letting her forehead be cut open and bleed without blinking. "Tianqing, you can take out your anger however you like. Just let Xiaofan go." I sneered and slapped her again. "Don't you hate seeing men in white shirts? Have you forgotten that when I wore a white shirt, you had me stripped naked and thrown into the lake? You said that was what I deserved, and that I had to be taught a lesson." Shen Yuchu's eyes flickered, and she looked down with a sense of guilt. "I'm sorry. I don't need your apology." In those years after we got married, every time I saw Shen Yuchu walking past a mall, staring at white shirts in a daze, her eyes filled with gentle affection. So on my birthday, I wore a white shirt for the first time and appeared before her, thinking she would like it. But I didn't expect her to fly into a rage. "Who told you to dress like that?" I didn't understand and thought I had dressed inappropriately. The next moment, she had me stripped naked and made me kneel in the courtyard as punishment. My eyes instantly turned red. "Shen Yuchu, you can't do this to me." But her attitude remained firm. She made me kneel on the cold floor and had the bodyguards watch me, claiming it was to teach me a lesson. I bit my lip until it bled, and the taste of blood spread. The humiliation of that moment would never be forgotten. The second time, I thought Shen Yuchu wasn't home, so I changed into my favorite white shirt in front of the mirror, preparing to go out for a business deal. But Shen Yuchu suddenly returned. Ignoring my pleas, she personally tore my clothes apart and threw me into the lake. I almost drowned that time, but Shen Yuchu said coldly, "Blame this white shirt of yours. You should be taught a lesson." The memory resurfaced. I looked at the utterly miserable Zhang Xiaofan, who looked just like I did when I was bullied. "Shen Yuchu, what did you say back then? Have you forgotten? Why is it different when it comes to him?" I turned to the bodyguard. "What are you standing there for? Continue." Zhang Xiaofan must also taste the torment Shen Yuchu inflicted on me. "Sister Yuchu, I can't hold on much longer. Save me!" He was clutching at the bodyguard with one hand and desperately jamming his other foot against the edge of the lake bank. As Zhang Xiaofan was being pushed into the lake, Shen Yuchu's face turned utterly grim. "Lin Tianqing, stop them immediately!" "Xiaofan is just a pure college student. How has he offended you? I'll apologize for him, just let him go." But the words had barely left her mouth when Zhang Xiaofan was tossed entirely into the lake. His face was deathly pale. He thrashed desperately. "Yuchu, save me!" A vein throbbed on Shen Yuchu's forehead. She instinctively tried to rush over to stop it, but I blocked her way. "Shen Yuchu, look at me. If you walk away with me now, I can pretend none of this happened. Zhang Xiaofan won't be in any mortal danger." But before I could finish, Shen Yuchu didn't even take a moment to hesitate. She practically sprinted away. A man who always had a compulsion for cleanliness and hated getting his clothes wet, she now jumped straight into the lake, reaching out to save Zhang Xiaofan. "Xiaofan, don't be afraid. I've come for you." What a waste of that expensive designer dress. I watched Shen Yuchu, looking frantic and helpless in the water, clinging tightly to Zhang Xiaofan, holding his waist and giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. That look in her eyes, the fear of losing her beloved, chilled my heart inch by painful inch. I gave a self-mocking laugh. "Let's go." As I left, I immediately ordered the servants to dismantle the swing. The servants were bewildered, asking me in disbelief, "Why dismantle it, sir? Didn't you personally make that swing for CEO Shen? It's her favorite." I sneered, remembering Zhang Xiaofan boasting in front of me about Shen Yuchu bringing him here to unlock new positions on the swing. I don't want anything that's been defiled. I had the lawyer draft the divorce agreement overnight, preparing to have Shen Yuchu sign it the next day. But before I could file for divorce, Shen Yuchu's revenge arrived first. When I opened my eyes, I found myself bound hand and foot and taken to a drop tower ride. My face was pale, even my lips had lost all color. "Tianqing, I know extreme sports are your greatest fear in life, but I am going to make you taste the unpleasant feeling of it. This is the price you are destined to pay for bullying Xiaofan." Shen Yuchu pressed a kiss onto the back of my hand, her voice as gentle as a lover's sweet talk, yet her words were ice cold. "I have to make you understand that Xiaofan is not someone you can bully as you please." Zhang Xiaofan hid behind Shen Yuchu, flashing a smug smile. "Don't worry, bro. You won't be in any mortal danger. I've secured all the safety measures and harnesses for you." He turned and left with Zhang Xiaofan. But after a few steps, Zhang Xiaofan turned back and gave me a look of pure provocation. Following his gaze, I looked at the harness and broke out in a cold sweat. Shen Yuchu didn't know, but the rope had already been cut. Zhang Xiaofan wanted me dead. My horrified cry hadn't even fully escaped my lips before my body was airborne. I desperately tried to grab the rope tied to me, only to find it was like grabbing a straw flying in the sky. It wasn't salvation, it was the bringer of death. The moment my body was flung out, I heard the nearby staff cry out in alarm. "How could this happen? There's an accident! Quick, emergency measures!" But their emergency measures were too late. The rushing wind tore across my face, yet only one sentence echoed in my mind. "We will only have widowhood, never divorce." Shen Yuchu had said that. When Shen Yuchu first pursued me, she almost lost half her life. My father brought me home for an arranged marriage, to marry a powerful and wealthy heiress. Shen Yuchu vehemently refused. She said she would save me from my misery and give me happiness. Later, we overcame great difficulties and finally got married. I thought we would be different. I thought we would be happy for life. But in the end, it was a cycle of harm and deceit, all because of that white shirt. The first time, she had me stripped naked and made me kneel in front of everyone. The second time, she pushed me into the water, nearly costing me my life. I thought it was just her emotional trauma, and that with time, it would eventually heal. But then I saw her so intimate with Zhang Xiaofan, who was wearing a white shirt. If I died like this, would she remember all the years of our relationship and shed a single tear for me? Or would she be happy? But I didn't die. When I woke up, I found I had been saved by Liu Ruyan. She had flown back to China on her private jet and came looking for me first thing in the morning. She happened to witness me being kidnapped and taken away by Shen Yuchu. She chased after us in her helicopter and saw I was in an accident. She used the parachute equipment from the plane to save my life. Seeing me finally awake, her eyes were red with emotion. "Tianqing, you scared me to death. How could that bastard Shen Yuchu do this to you? I'm gonna find her and settle the score." I held back Liu Ruyan, looking at a WeChat moment Shen Yuchu had just posted, and gave a bitter smile. "Liu Ruyan, take me out of the country. I don't want to stay here anymore." Liu Ruyan's gaze also fell on the WeChat moment. Shen Yuchu had personally prepared a pure white suit for Zhang Xiaofan and taken him to a dinner party. The caption read, "You are my only pure white gardenia." Liu Ruyan looked at me silently for a moment, then nodded. "Okay." Liu Ruyan was very fast. She did not let the hit-and-run case go, instructing a close friend in the country to pursue the matter to the end. At the same time, she arranged our travel to take me abroad to clear my head. We reached the airport 3 days later. Standing at the airport, I looked back towards Chunshan Mansion. Also, before I leave, I want to give Shen Yuchu a gift. Tell her I'm dead. Sure enough, 3 days later, Shen Yuchu finally thought of me. She searched all over Chunshan Mansion but couldn't find me. She frowned. "Where is the master? Hasn't he come back yet?" She thought I was still angry about the drop tower incident. But the housekeeper shook her head. "CEO Shen, since the day you took the master away, he has never returned. I've been meaning to ask, but..." Just then, Shen Yuchu received a call from the staff. "Are you a family member of Mr. Lin Tianqing? When he came to experience the drop tower ride last time, the safety rope was severed by someone. He died instantly." The phone clattered to the floor. Shen Yuchu's face was chalk white, and it took her a while to react. She stiffly picked up the phone, her hand trembling. "Say that again. Who died?" Zhang Xiaofan sensed Shen Yuchu's abnormality and scurried over, snatching her phone. "Sister Yuchu, it's just a prank. I got the call too. Ignore it." With that, Zhang Xiaofan pressed the hang-up button. But I was still uneasy. Shen Yuchu frowned, wanting to grab her coat and go out, but Zhang Xiaofan wrapped his arms around her waist. He hugged Shen Yuchu tightly and kissed her possessively. "You promised me you would spend these few days with me. Both your body and heart belong completely to me. I won't allow you to think about other men." Shen Yuchu's tight frown gradually eased, and her breathing became rapid. "You little temptress, you always know how to handle me." Afterward, Zhang Xiaofan ran his fingers back and forth across her chest. "Yuchu, if your husband wasn't around, would you marry me?" The smile on Shen Yuchu's face instantly froze. "What do you mean by that?" Zhang Xiaofan's eyes darted away. "I was just making a comparison." "What? You won't give me a title? You won't even let me talk about it?" Shen Yuchu's mood instantly sank to the bottom. "Don't ever make jokes like that again, Xiaofan. I told you, I can give you anything you want. But the title of my husband belongs only to Tianqing." She put on her dress and walked to the balcony, smoking half a cigarette. In the haze of smoke, her voice sounded very sorrowful. "Tianqing and I have been married for 5 or 6 years. I've already wronged him by being with you." She remembered how I had cut ties with my family to help her get to where she was today, and she felt a spot in her heart soften. I can't leave him homeless. But as she said this, she completely missed the change in Zhang Xiaofan's eyes behind her. CEO Shen felt increasingly restless, as if something was lost, leaving an empty feeling. She sat in her office for a long time, unable to accomplish anything. So she asked the driver to take her to Chunshan Mansion. "Has the master not returned these past few days?" The housekeeper stepped forward with red eyes, holding a white porcelain jar in her hand. CEO Shen, haven't you received the news yet? The master has passed away. These are the ashes sent from the accident scene. CEO Shen, please accept my condolences. Shen Yuchu's face turned ghastly pale. She lost her balance and almost fell. This is impossible. I specifically warned them to ensure safety precautions. How could Tianqing be in an accident? Even though she refused to believe it, the fact was laid bare before her, and she had no choice but to accept it. Within 3 days, the news of my death had spread throughout the entire social circle. Some people even started taking action. Someone posted surveillance video evidence online, claiming that someone had tampered with the drop tower ride beforehand, and the safety rope was cut. This immediately caused an uproar. Netizens commented furiously, calling it malicious mischief and murder. My God, what kind of grudge did the mastermind have against Mr. Lin to want to kill him like this? Haven't you heard? His wife tied him up and brought him there. The surveillance at the entrance saw it. What was her wife's name again? Shen Yuchu, the CEO of the Shen Group. Don't change the subject. Didn't you see that the person who tampered with the rope in the video was a man? OMG! Doesn't the man next to Shen Yuchu at the dinner party look exactly like this person? Holy cow! It really is a crime of passion. As these videos and evidence pushed Zhang Xiaofan into the spotlight, and public opinion became uncontrollable, Shen Yuchu was frantic, rushing to find connections to smooth things over, and paying for internet trolls to suppress the news. But it was all in vain. Finally, the police were alerted. Did you tamper with the rope or not? Shen Yuchu demanded of Zhang Xiaofan, a vein throbbing on her forehead. I know I was wrong, Yuchu. I didn't mean it. I just wanted to teach Lin Tianqing a lesson that day. I didn't think he would actually die. Seeing the police almost pounding on the door, Zhang Xiaofan completely panicked, crying profusely. He grabbed Shen Yuchu's sleeve and pleaded bitterly. Sister Yuchu, I haven't even graduated from college yet. I can't go to jail. Please, save me. Shen Yuchu clenched her fist, then released it, and finally closed her eyes in despair. Don't let there be a next time, Xiaofan. If you continue to be so reckless, even I won't be able to protect you. The light returned to Zhang Xiaofan's eyes. Shen Yuchu confessed in her place and was taken away by the police. The same day Shen Yuchu was taken away, her company fell into massive chaos. All the public funds were siphoned off by Zhang Xiaofan. To obtain the signature and seal, Zhang Xiaofan specifically visited her in prison. After successfully getting what he wanted, Zhang Xiaofan dropped the act. Shen Yuchu, you idiot, that child isn't yours at all. I just saw that you were rich and easy to fool, so I treated you like a fish to reel in. I didn't expect you to take the bait so quickly, but looking at you in jail now, you don't have much of a future left. You can rot in prison and forget about ever getting out. Shen Yuchu was filled with disbelief, her eyes bloodshot. You're lying to me. Shen Yuchu gritted her teeth, but she was trapped in prison and couldn't do anything even if she was angry. She could only watch as Zhang Xiaofan left with the signed document. She hadn't clearly seen what she was signing until he was gone. It was a share transfer agreement. She could only gnash her teeth, watching her own foolishness hand over her massive company. Tianqing, did you know how stupid I was all along? She gently caressed the watch I wore close to my body, thinking it was my relic. I'm sorry. I was momentarily confused to let things get this far. She coldly looked up, her eyes turning sinister. Zhang Xiaofan, this time, I will make you pay the price too. Shen Yuchu filed a request to overturn the case and even confessed to having an accomplice, Zhang Xiaofan. Before he could enjoy his freedom for long, he was also arrested by the police. Through the investigation, it was revealed that Zhang Xiaofan was no pure college student. His student identity was fake. He was originally part of a fraud group, and the persona of Zhang Xiaofan was custom-made for Shen Yuchu, designed to appeal to her by mirroring her younger brother, Shen Yifan. He deliberately appeared in front of her, starting with an innocent confession, then persistent harassment, and finally seducing her into bed, manipulating both her body and her heart. You scheming man. So you were lying to me all this time. I'll kill you. Shen Yuchu was more agitated than ever, even attempting to strike him in front of the police. But she was restrained. Zhang Xiaofan, however, looked at her with a cold smile. Shen Yuchu, why are you pretending to be innocent? I admit I lied to you, but didn't you willingly accept it? I did scam your money and approach you with an agenda, but what about you? Didn't you enjoy my youth and my body? What good person are you to judge me? This counter-question was so resounding that even the police had no rebuttal. Shen Yuchu became completely defeated. She crouched down in regret, running her hands through her hair, utterly desperate. She recalled the first time she met Zhang Xiaofan 6 months ago. She had indeed been deeply attracted to him. He did look a bit like her brother, so when she saw Zhang Xiaofan being bullied, she unhesitatingly stepped forward to help him. Afterward, the young man looked at her with pure adoration, always following her around, asking her out to dinner, and asking for her contact information. Shen Yuchu thought about refusing, but she couldn't bear to. It was after she got drunk that one time that Shen Yuchu punched the hooligan trying to take advantage of Zhang Xiaofan and took him to the hotel. From then on, things spiraled out of control. Even though she concealed it from Lin Tianqing, she continued to keep Zhang Xiaofan in the single apartment because she felt that these encounters were destined. Zhang Xiaofan was a gift sent to her by heaven, but now she knew it was all a lie. Moreover, her misguided obsession had killed Lin Tianqing. Tianqing, I'm sorry. I'm the one who hurt you. She repeatedly smashed her head against the wall, believing that only by inflicting enough pain on her body could her soul find some relief. When we met again, I was wearing a pristine white shirt. Shen Yuchu was no longer my legal wife. I had sued her for adultery and attempted murder, and the court had ruled in my favor. Lin Tianqing. Shen Yuchu's voice trembled when she saw me. Her eyes were bloodshot. You're not dead? I smiled gently. Your Tianqing did die. He died on that drop tower ride that day, and I am Lin Tianqing. After Shen Yuchu's innocence was proven, she was released from prison, but her company had long been bankrupted. Chanshan Mansion was also repossessed by the bank to pay off debts. She went from being a glamorous CEO to having absolutely nothing. It's so good that you're not dead. I've been praying to all the gods these past few days, hoping you would come back. Seeing the wedding ring on my hand, she was hysterically happy. Tianqing, I knew you wouldn't give up on me. Let's go home. Let's be a family again, okay? I coldly pushed her away, picked up an alcohol wipe, and sterilized my hand. Don't flatter yourself. This ring belongs to my wife. It has nothing to do with you. Shen Yuchu's face instantly went pale. Wife? She eagerly took a step forward. Aren't I your wife? Liao Ruyan is my new wife. Miss Shen, I've long heard of you. Tianqing is my husband now. Liao Ruyan walked up and put her arm around my waist. Shen Yuchu's eyes instantly turned cold, icy enough to kill. What is going on? Tianqing, didn't you say you would only love me in this life? I spoke lazily. You could cheat, so why can't I fall in love with someone else? Wearing the white shirt, I felt radiant and much younger. Even my heart felt much freer. Shen Yuchu's jail sentence was overturned because Liu Ruyan had intervened on my behalf. The person who tried to kill me was Zhang Xiaofan, and the real culprit certainly couldn't be allowed to walk free. That's why Shen Yuchu was released. She still stared at me with deep affection. Tianqing, I don't believe you don't love me. When exactly did you stop loving me? I sat on the swing, recalling the first time I noticed something was wrong with Shen Yuchu. She had a fresh men's cologne scent on her, and I never used cologne. I moved slightly away from her. She seemed to notice and looked a little guilty. A staff member at the company cried today, and I lent him my jacket. If you mind, I'll just throw this jacket away. Shen Yuchu was about to toss the jacket. Why be so wasteful? My gaze lightly fell on the jacket. It's quite pitiful to be abandoned. Unfortunately, she didn't understand what I meant back then. It was exactly as the private investigator's findings suggested. At that time, she was already entangled with Zhang Xiaofan. A person's intuition is very sharp. Shen Yuchu initially maintained good boundaries, but the moment she took that first forbidden step, we both knew everything was over. Shen Yuchu, when I first found out you betrayed me, I did want to fight you to the death. But now there's no need. An irrelevant person is like a wisp of smoke. It quickly drifts away and leaves no trace in my life. Shen Yuchu, you are that wisp of smoke. Shen Yuchu squatted on the ground in despair, sobbing uncontrollably. I took Liu Eryan's hand and walked away. A mischance is destined to remain a mischance. And some mischances are precisely meant for meeting a better person. From then on, I could wear my favorite white shirt with impunity, without worrying about anyone's psychological hang-ups. I could be myself without reservation, no longer confined to a cage by others. I heard that later, on what would have been our wedding anniversary, Shen Yuchu took pills and committed suicide. When I saw the news headline, I merely glanced at it before quickly swiping past.